I made every team's highest paid player a 99 overall in NHL 24, and we are going to see if these players can put their money where their mouth is and lead their team to a Stanley Cup. Because, I mean, if you are the highest paid player in your team, you are most likely expected to lead that team to the glory days of winning a Stanley Cup at the end of the season. Unless you're maybe like rebuilding, then you're probably not expected to do that, but most of these players are the best players in the game. So let's go ahead and take a look who is the highest paid player on every single franchise in the NHL. So if we take a look here at every team's highest paid player, starting off with the Anaheim Ducks, it will be Troy Terry. For Arizona, it's going to be Clayton Clutch Keller. For the Boston Bruins, it'll be none other than David Pastrnak. For Buffalo, surprisingly, it's actually Jeff Skinner, making $9 million a year. 31 years old. He actually had a very good season last year. 35 goals and 82 points, a career resurgence, I guess. For Calgary, obviously, it's going to be Jonathan Huberdeau. Everybody knows what an awful contract that is. For Carolina, it'll be your mom's a hoe, Sebastian Aho. Seth Jones for the Chicago Blackhawks, definitely overpaid. Nathan MacKinnon for the Colorado Avalanche, definitely not overpaid. If anything, slightly underpaid. I believe he's the second highest paid player in the entire league. For Columbus, it's going to be their free agent that they signed 2 off seasons ago, Johnny Hockey. He's a 99. Tyler Sagan for the Dallas Stars, making $9.8 million. He's honestly washed at 31 years old. I really thought this guy would be something special and a lot better than what he actually did in real life. For the Red Wings, it'll be their captain, Dylan Larkin. Obviously, for Edmonton, it's Connor McDavid. For the Florida Panthers, Alexander Barkov. Drew Doughty for the LA Kings. For the Minnesota Wild, it'll be Kirill Kaprizov. For Montreal, it'll be their captain, Nick Suzuki. For Nashville, obviously, it's going to be Roman Josi. For the New Jersey Devils, surprisingly, it's actually Dougie Hamilton, making $9 million a year. He makes more than Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier. For the New York Islanders, it'll be Matthew Barzal. For the Rangers, obviously, Artemi Panarin. For the Ottawa Senators, it'll be Tim Stützle. For the Philadelphia Flyers, Sean Couturier. Erik Karlsson for the Pittsburgh Penguins, as he is making $10 million, $2 mil more than Sidney Crosby, which is insane. Shout out to Crosby, still kicking it at 36 years old. The San Jose Sharks, it'll be Tomas Hertl. For the Seattle Kraken, Vince Dunn. For the St. Louis Blues, it was a tie between Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou, so I literally just went with Robert Thomas. For the Tampa Bay Lightning, it'll be Nikita Kucherov. For the Toronto Maple Leafs, obviously Austin Matthews. I believe he's the highest paid player in the NHL, or he is after this season when his previous contract is up and his new one kicks in. For the Vancouver Canucks, we got JT Miller making $8 million a year. For the Vegas Golden Knights, it'll be Jack Eichel. For the Washington Capitals, obviously Alexander Ovechkin. And then finally, for the Winnipeg Jets, it will be Kyle Connor, making $7.1 million for the next 3 seasons. So now that we know every single player that I up to a 99 overall, which is the highest paid player on every single team, let's go ahead. We will simulate and see if that affects the NHL drastically over the next 5 years. Before we do that, though, if you guys do enjoy videos like this, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss a single live stream or video that I put out. So at the end of the season, the Vancouver Canucks are going to finish as the best team in the entire NHL, going 53-25-4, followed by Colorado. They were up there, as well as Tampa Bay. It's not a past NHL 24 video without Colorado and Tampa Bay doing very good. The Devils are good. Carolina was up there. The Rangers. Toronto, surprisingly, pretty well. I mean, Austin Matthews is already their best player, so I don't think it affected them too much. Now, at the bottom, we have the Philadelphia Flyers, Nashville Predators, and Calgary Flames. Even having Jonathan Huberdeau at a 99 is not going to save this poverty-ass franchise. Connor McDavid is going to lead the entire NHL in scoring with 123 points, followed by Nick Suzuki's 121. Johnny Hockey was up there. Dylan Larkin had a very good season. Tomas Hertl on the San Jose Sharks put up 114. Nathan MacKinnon was good. Draisaitl, Nylander, and Barkov. For the goal side, Ovi's going to lead with 67 on the season, followed by McDavid, 61. Tomas Hertl had 60. Jeff Skinner, 60. He had 60 and 40 for 100 points. That is crazy. Tyler Sagan had 59. Your mom's a hoe, 58. Matthews was up there. Kyle Connor and Nathan MacKinnon for defensemen. There wasn't too many that I messed with. Erik Karlsson will lead with 96 points, followed by Seth Jones is 95. Drew Doughty had 94. Hamilton was up there. Quinn Hughes was up there. Surprisingly low. I mean, I didn't mess with his overall. For goalies, Thatcher Demko is going to lead in wins with 45, followed by Freddie Anderson's 42, and Vasi also having 42. And for shutouts, it'll be Frederick Anderson with 7 on the season. Shoutout Stuart Skinner. He had 5. And this is what our playoff bracket looks like here in season number 1. We don't have that too many interesting matchups, honestly. I mean, in a original six battle between Toronto and Detroit should be good, but outside of that, there's not much here. And in the Stanley Cup final, we have the Vancouver Canucks up against the New Jersey Devils, so that means JT Miller up against Dougie Hamilton. Let's see who goes on and is going to take the Stanley Cup home at the end of the very first season. And luckily for the city of Vancouver, the Canucks are not going to choke in the Stanley Cup finals, and they are going to get it done in 6 games over the New Jersey Devils. It was a back and forth series, very tight and very close, but the Canucks are going to pull it out here in Game 6 on home ice. They'll get to raise the Stanley Cup, which obviously will be very special for the fans, and no more riots happening here in Vancouver. For the Conn Smythe, it's going to go to the highest paid player, JT Miller. 14 goals and 33 points, a very good stat line by the Conn Smythe guy. Definitely well deserved. As for the very first time in franchise history, the Vancouver Canucks are Stanley Cup champions. So here comes their captain, Quinn Hughes, coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the first time in his career, obviously, as Vancouver has won it all here in year number 1. Now for the playoffs, JT Miller is going to lead with 33 points, followed by Jack Hughes' 31. Dougie Hamilton had 30. Elias Pettersson was up there, as well as Brock Besser, also 13 goals on the kid. Shout out to Tyler Toffoli, 9 goals and 24 points as well. Nick Suzuki is going to take home the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy, while the Art Ross to McDavid, Maurice Richard to Ovi, and the Norris to Erik Karlsson. Well, the Conn Smythe we know went to JT Miller. Connor Hellebuck is going to win the Vezina, and the Selke will go to Nick Suzuki. Now the defending Stanley Cup champs, the Vancouver Canucks. God, that sounds so awful. Please, never in my life would I ever thought I'd say that. Regardless, they are going to be the best team again in the regular season, going 55-20-7, followed by the Buffalo Sabres. Arizona won 49 games. Shout out to the College Hockey Arena. Colorado was up there. The Oilers had a bounce-back season with 47 wins. At the bottom, we have the poverty Calgary Flames. You can't spell Flames without the L. Actually, I have 2 L's in Calgary and Flames. Johnny Hockey is going to lead the NHL in scoring with 121 points, followed by Connor McDavid's 116. Matthews had 115. Tyler Seguin was up there at 109. Draisaitl 108. Tomas Hertl had a good season. Tim Stützle and Jeff Skinner. Now on the goal side, Austin Matthews is going to score 75 goals on the season, followed by McDavid 64. Kucherov had 58. Jeff Skinner 54. Johnny Hockey was up there. Hertl had 53. Seguin 52, which I believe is going to be a career high for him. 2017-2018, which is not terrible, I guess, not that long ago. Dougie Hamilton is going to lead all defenders in goals with 32 and points with 87. He was a -4 though, which is not great. Seth Jones had 85. Roman Josi 83. Drew Doughty was up there, as well as Erik Karlsson. Now for the goalies, Demko again is going to lead in wins, this time with 42, followed by Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen's 41. Stuart Skinner had 41, and now for the shutouts, Ilya Sorokin will lead with 6, followed by Markstrom, Decord, and Merzlikins, who all had 5 apiece. And here we go yet again. This is our Stanley Cup playoff bracket. Let's see who goes on and advances to the Stanley Cup finals. Also, shout out in the first round, we have Toronto and Ottawa, the Battle of Ontario. That should be good. And in the Stanley Cup finals, we yet again have the Vancouver Canucks looking to go back-to-back, but they are up against the Ottawa Senators this season. So who is going to take it home? Will Ottawa win their very first Stanley Cup in their franchise history, or will the Vancouver Canucks go back-to-back, starting off the video with 2 straight Stanley Cups? And the Vancouver Canucks have done it. They have gone back-to-back, winning their 2nd Stanley Cup in the video and their 2nd Stanley Cup in franchise history, as they defeat the Ottawa Senators in 6 games, just like they did to the Devils last season. Ottawa just really didn't stand much of a chance, I guess. Vancouver, for some reason, now with a 99 overall JT Miller, they are going to dominate. I guess that's all they really needed, is for Miller to perform, and then they're going to win the Stanley Cup. I mean, they're a good team in real life. They were number 1 in the entire league, but I don't know if they are anymore. JT Miller is going to go back-to-back with the Conn Smythe. This time, 12 goals and 30 points, as the Stanley Cup will be raised in the nation's capital. I'm actually thinking about going to an Ottawa Senators game when the Oilers play them in late March, I believe. I'm almost ready to book my trip, but regardless, here is Quinn Hughes coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the 2nd time in as many seasons, as Vancouver yet again are Stanley Cup champions. So for the playoffs, Tim Stützle is going to lead 17 goals and 32 points, followed by JT Miller's 30. Brady Tkachuk at 29. Elias Pettersson was up there. Kyle Connor had a very good playoff run. He was a goal per game in the playoffs. My God. David Pastrnak had 15 goals and 25 points. Jeff Skinner is going to take home the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy. The Art Ross to Johnny Hockey and Maurice Richard to Matthews. The Norris will go to Victor Hedman and, of course, the Conn Smythe to JT Miller. Connor Ingram is going to win the Vezina and the Selke will go to Alexander Barkov. Now, at the end of the third season, the LA Kings are going to finish as the best team in the regular season, going 53, 23, and 6, followed by the Detroit Red Wings. The Boston Bruins are up there. Dallas, of course, the back-to-back. Actually, no, that's four. It's back-to-back. I don't even know, honestly. The Vancouver Canucks went back-to-back. They are Stanley Cup champions for 2 straight seasons, and now they're still pretty good. The Rangers are up there. Colorado was good. Now at the bottom, we have Arizona, San Jose, and Les Montréal des Canadiens. Comment ça va? Ça va bien. Johnny Hockey is going to lead the entire NHL in scoring yet again, this time with 127 points, followed by McKinnon's 125. Nylander had 121. Ovi was up there past. They had a good season. Mitch Marner had a very good year for himself, 114 points. Erik Karlsson cracked 111. Now for the goal side, Alexander Ovechkin is going to lead with 61, followed by Jeff Skinner 60. Barkov had 60, as well as Matthews, who had 58. Jack Eichel 53. Nikita Kucherov was up there. Shout out to Mr. Fortnite. Patrick Laine had a 50-goal season. Now Erik Karlsson's obviously going to dominate for defensemen, 111 points, followed by Drew Doughty's 91. Cale Makar had 91. Jake Ottinger is going to lead in wins with 45, followed by Ville Husso's 44 and Binnington's 41. Now for the shutout side, Andrei Vasilevsky is going to lead with 7. Here we go yet again. This is our playoff bracket for season number 3. And in the Stanley Cup Finals, we have the Colorado Avalanche up against the Buffalo Sabres, which I believe is Jeff Skinner up against Nathan MacKinnon. So let's see who is going to go on and take home the Stanley Cup at the end of year number 3. And the Buffalo Sabres are going to defeat the greatest team of all time in NHL 23, the Colorado Avalanche, in 6 games in the Stanley Cup Finals. Go on and I believe win their very first Stanley Cup in their franchise history. They might have won with Dominic Hasek, but I don't believe so. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Buffalo has not won in a long time. They haven't even made the playoffs in almost 20 seasons. As the Conn Smythe is going to go to Tage Thompson, 12 goals and 35 points, not Jeff Skinner, who is the 99 overall. Thompson in real life, I mean, he's kind of struggling, honestly, after breaking out last season. And the Stanley Cup is going to be able to be raised here in Buffalo. The last trophy presentation they had was honestly Canada winning the World Juniors in 2018. Oh, okay, that was probably not the right thing to say at this time. Regardless, Kyle Okposo is going to come lift the Stanley Cup. He is the captain. I kind of forgot about that, as Buffalo has gone all the way here in season number 3. So shout out to the Sabres and their fan base. I mean, if they have any fans, that is. MacKinnon is going to lead the playoffs in scoring with 38 points, followed by Tage Thompson's 35. Jeff Skinner. MacKinnon is going to lead the entire playoffs in scoring with 38 points, followed by Tage Thompson's 35. Jeff Skinner had 33, also 19 goals. Nikita Kucherov was up there with 30. JT Miller had 30. Valery Nichushkin had 27. Landy was up there. Brock Besser. MacKinnon is going to take home the Ted Lindsay and Hart Trophy. The Art Ross to Johnny Hockey and Maurice Richard to Ovi. The Norris will go to Erik Karlsson. The Conn Smythe, of course, to Tage Thompson. Cam Talbot is somehow going to win the Vezina, and the Selke will go to Tomas Hertl of the San Jose Sharks. Now at the end of season number 4, Columbus is going to go on and be the best team in the NHL. The Columbus Blue Jackets of all teams. They won 50 games, followed by Toronto, who won 48. The multiple-time Stanley Cup champions, the Vancouver Canucks. They were up there, as well as Dallas, Boston, and Carolina at the bottom. We pretty much have the same teams, honestly. JT Miller is going to lead the entire NHL in scoring with 123 points, followed by Nathan MacKinnon's 120. Breadman had 120. Alexander Barkov was up there. Johnny Hockey, Pasta, Marchand, Pettersson was up there. A lot of scoring in the NHL this season. Now for the goal side, MacKinnon will lead with 64 tucks on the season. Tomas Hertl had 58. Brock Besser 57. Pasta was up there. Barkov, McDavid scores a lot. Suzuki had 51. Breadman 51 as well. Defenseman Seth Jones is going to have the most points at 87, followed by Drew Doughty's 85 and Vince Dunn's 83. Also Erik Karlsson had 82. Jake Ottinger is going to tie for the most wins with Thatcher Demko at 42. And for the most shutouts in the NHL, it's going to be a three-way tie between Ville Husso, John Gibson, and Andrei Vasilevsky. They would all have 5 apiece. And in year number 4, this is our playoff bracket. We do have Toronto and Montreal in round number 1. And in the Stanley Cup Finals, we yet again have the Colorado Avalanche, but they are up against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So we have Nathan MacKinnon up against Austin Matthews, the battle of 2 of the 3 best players in the entire world, number 2 and 3 probably. Let's see who goes on and takes home the Stanley Cup at the end of the 4th season. And I guess it would not be a simulation video without the Colorado Avalanche at least winning 1 Stanley Cup, as they are going to defeat the Toronto Maple Leafs in 6 games in the Stanley Cup Finals. They're going to win it here on home ice, which they did not get to do back in 2022, which is going to be 2 years old coming this May and June, which is absolutely wild. That does not feel like 2 years. As Nathan MacKinnon is going to take on the Conn Smythe, 15 goals and 38 points for the Dog. Definitely well deserved. He is their best player at a 99 overall. As that Stanley Cup is going to get raised here in the Mile High City. Blaze it up for everybody in the crowd. As the Colorado Avalanche are yet again Stanley Cup champions. Here comes their captain, Gabriel Landeskog, coming to lift it for the 2nd time in his career. Congratulations, Colorado. You guys are again Stanley Cup champions. Now, obviously, Nathan MacKinnon is going to lead the playoffs in scoring with 38 points, followed by Mitch Marner's 36. Nylander had 36. Austin Matthews had a very good playoff run, which is surprising for his standards. He had 18 goals and 33 points. Landy was up there, Rantanen, Johnny Hockey. Artemi Panarin is going to take home the Ted Lindsay and Hart Trophy. The Art Ross to JT Miller, and Maurice Richard to Nathan MacKinnon. The Norris will go to Adam Fox. The Conn Smythe to the Dog. The Vezina to Thatcher Demko. And the Selke will go to Sean Couturier. Now, at the end of the final season, the Winnipeg Jets are going to be the best team in the NHL, going 55-20-7, followed by the Vancouver Canucks, Seattle Kraken. We're up there. Columbus, Colorado is always up there. I mean, Florida, Carolina, New Jersey at the bottom. We do have the sad and sorry Chicago Blackhawks. The Islanders were bad. Calgary is straight poverty. The Red Wings were surprisingly bad. They have a pretty good roster, and they're doing pretty well in real life. I'd say they'll make the playoffs. Austin Matthews is going to lead the entire NHL in goal scoring with 64 and points with 120, followed by your mom's a hose, 115. Nick Suzuki had 115. Nylander was up there. JT Miller, Johnny Hockey had 112. Sean Couturier had a career high 63 goals and 111 points. Speaking of goals, other than Matthews, Sean Couturier is going to have the most at 63, followed by Ovi's 59. Your mom's a hoe had 58. Tomas Hertl was up there. McDavid, McKinnon, Barkov, and Kucherov, now forward defenseman. Seth Jones is going to tie Erik Karlsson for the most at 91 points, which I mean would be a career high for Seth Jones, I believe. I also thought this guy was going to be a lot better than he was. I mean, in his prime on Columbus, he was very good for a couple of seasons. Went to Chicago and it kind of went downhill. I mean, holy hell, a minus 18, minus 37, minus 38. Back in like NHL 13 before this guy got drafted, he was like projected higher than Nathan MacKinnon. He would do insanely well. Goalies, Connor Hellebuyck is going to almost break the NHL record. He actually might tie it at 48 wins, followed by Demko's 44, Vasi at 42. For the shutouts in the season, Darcy Kemper will have the most at 8, followed by Jacob Markstrom 6, Jake Ottinger at 6, and Peter Mrazek 4. And here we go. This is our 5th and final playoff run of the video. We do have the Battle of Ontario yet again. Outside of that, there's not too many interesting series. I guess Colorado and Dallas should be a good one. And in the Stanley Cup Finals, we have the Dallas Stars up against the Boston Bruins. So I believe Tyler Seguin up against, honestly, I cannot even remember who. It might have been Charlie McAvoy. No, it was David Pastrnak. So we got Pasta up against Tyler Seguin. Let's see who's going to take home the Stanley Cup at the end of the 5th and final season. And the Boston Bruins are going to get it done here in 6 games over the Dallas Stars to win the Stanley Cup. I believe every single series in this video, the Stanley Cup Final Series at least, was 6 games, as Boston will get their first Stanley Cup since 2011 after being a pretty good team for the last decade and losing 2 Stanley Cup Final matchups. Just couldn't get over the hill. Obviously, they had the biggest collapse in NHL history last season to the Florida Panthers. The Conn Smythe is going to go to Brad Marchand, 17 goals and 29 points for the Rat, as the Stanley Cup is going to be able to be raised in Boston for the first time in a very long time, because in 2011 they won it in Vancouver where the riots happened. But regardless, here comes Brad Marchand coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the 2nd time in his career, as the Boston Bruins are your Stanley Cup champions in the 5th and final season. Tyler Seguin is going to lead the playoffs in scoring with 46 points, only 11 goals with 35 assists, followed by Jason Robertson, who had 44. Joe Pavelski had 33. The Dallas Stars were insane in this playoff run. Those are legit video game numbers. I mean, well, we are playing a video game, but at the end of the day, that's insane. Brad Marchand had 29. Tomas Hertl, 24. Matthews was up there. Trent Frederick had 20 points in the playoffs. Austin Matthews is going to take home all the awards. The Norris will go to Erik Karlsson. The Conn Smythe, of course, to Brad Marchand. The Vezina to Freddie Anderson. And the Selke will go back to Sean Couturier. And that is going to do it for this video. We have gone ahead and made every single team's highest paid player a 99 overall in NHL 24. And while the Vancouver Canucks were the best team, they went back to back to start out the video. They were good throughout basically the entire video. Didn't make another Stanley Cup final though, and they definitely did not win one, but at the end of the day, they started off hot. Some say it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Some say it doesn't even matter. Let me know in the comments what you guys would like to see next. I would like to say thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.